1. Let me start out by saying thank you for your service, but your daughters are idiots. Okay guys, order wherever you want, dinner's on me. I look at the table set for 10, but only 5, a child and a baby are seated before me. Apparently they told the host they were 8, so they could get more room to themselves. To start off with drinks, aside from the bar being backed up, everything goes well. They start to order. Dad knows what he wants right away, and I like him, he's a chill motherfucker. And it's so nice he wants to pay for everyone. I get to the son, adult son, who has a medical condition, so we try to find what he can eat within his means. Finally get to the daughters, also adults, one with a baby. Firstly, they're throwing Cheerios at the baby, making this huge mess. Secondly, one had a really bad dye job with her hair, and trust me, that's a huge red flag in my area for how people will treat you. Finally, you're over here. Sorry, I was trying to help him find something he can eat. Man stays quiet. Well, I have questions. Okay, get through all that, bring out their appetizers. We want more chips. Literally, as I'm putting the plate of chips and dip on the table. Okay, sure, it's not that busy, and it's not like the kitchen will know. I go check on my other tables because somehow I end up with 7 other tables on top of this party. I come back, and immediately the girl with the bad dye job, drinks! Her little girl looks at Mom and says, please. Thank you, little girl. Teach those manners. Come back with my hands full of drinks. Where are the chips? I'm sorry, there were no more trays. I was going to bring these and come straight back. Whatever, just bring me another sweet tea. Again, I'm literally setting down her drink in front of her. Come back with the chips. Bring us more. God damn it, you're not my only table. Stop asking for chips when you haven't even eaten the first batch. I'll be right back. Food comes out and there's a ton of problems. This is cold. Manager stuck his finger in it. It wasn't. We made a new order. My steak is rare. Dye job complains. It says on the menu it comes rare unless otherwise specified. She did not specify. There's tomatoes on my food. They're peppers. They're very obviously peppers. I think they're peppers. They're tomatoes. Take it back. I take it back. The cook tells me they're peppers. I tell the manager about the idiot girls. I go back and tell them I'm about to have a manager come up, and the girls get excited. Oh good, that's great news. Their dad, on the other hand, sits there like WTF. As I'm leaving, he tells them to leave that poor server alone. God bless him. For now, manager takes care of everything. I come up to do a follow-up. Where's the chips? God, what is wrong with you two and fucking chips? I nod and say I wasn't told anything about chips, but I'll get them out right now. Come back with the chips. Ask about dessert. Thank God they're full aside from the goddamn chips. Bring some boxes and the check. Dad pays in cash. I give him his change. He counts out a tip and leaves it on the table. I usually wait until the table leaves because it's rude to just grab it. Unless, of course, they hand it to me. I should have grabbed it because when they were leaving I was looking around the table for the tip and it was gone. Dye job and sister were laughing and still in hearing range. She's looking for a tip. I'm pretty sure they took it. I just about started crying and went to go check on my tables. I did have a couple tears run down at one table, and it made those poor people feel so awkward, but they couldn't stand that party of white trash either. One table, though, they saw the bullshit I was put through and gave me $25. I didn't see it until later, though, because they wrapped the 20 in a 5. So, had a party of 10, actually 6, run me crazy for chips, try to get things off their meal they weren't even paying for comped, steal my tip, only for a table with a mudslide to save my sanity. 2. I work at a hotel bar. A group of 3 came in early-ish in the evening, and I got a vibe that they weren't going to tip well right from the start. I served folks that carried themselves in similar fashions who didn't, but I'm open to being surprised. One of the guys is celebrating his birthday. They're chatty and kind of fun, so I think, okay, I can snap a coupon from the front desk and let him have a mixed drink on the house for his special night. His girlfriend orders a holy water and we joke about being basic bitches. We're having a good time so far. They order a few shots and more mixed drinks and beer. Eventually, the bill is just shy of $110. The third fella, who seems to be third-wheeling it for his buddy's birthday, asks what the bill is and brings out his wallet, puts $120 cash down. I grab him his change and his pals get up and leave. One fella at the bar asks, "Did they leave you anything?" I still have a smile on my face. No, and I could have made a lot of money had I bet on it too. Half an hour later they come back down for a smoke, and birthday boy orders some drinks for the room. We get talking while I'm whipping them up, and turns out he's from my neck of the woods on the other side of the country. We reminisce about the mountains and the mild winter, smiles all around. He pays for his bills in cash, takes the change I got him, and puts it in his pocket, and once again walks away. I'm still smiling. The guy at the bar is shocked that I'm not fuming. The hourly pays my rent. But the night is not off to a very great start. Mentally, I have already thrown in the towel. Some time goes by and a bunch of friends come by the bar. Whiskey and ginger ale are flowing, 3 rounds of tequila, Caesars, and beer galore. I'm happy to be busy. I wasn't expecting it on a Saturday, they're quite hit or miss. But I'm getting into the groove and doing my best to chat and entertain, while making drink after shot after drink. They all pay up and tip accordingly, some $1 a drink, others just hit 15% on the machine. But I don't think the night can really be salvaged despite the slight change in mood. Most file out apart from the 2 from the busy group. They're enjoying my Caesars and my company. We talk about life and vacations and music and even politics. They invite me to their nearby cabin this summer and insist they buy me a shot tonight. It's getting late, and I'm tired, but these folks truly are splendid. They settle up and add an extra 20% to the total. She leaves a few coins in exchange for limes for the tequila they have in their room, and then the husband asks for one more drink to bring upstairs. 1 more ounce of whiskey, and I give him a can of ginger ale for the road. Credit machine in hand, he types in a gratuity. Shows the wife, and she nods with a quick thumbs up and presses OK. A receipt with a $50 tip for 1 drink prints in front of my eyes, almost as if it were in slow motion. The tears are welling, and I barely manage a thank you before he says, "This is one of the best experiences I've had at a bar, and you're the bartender that made that possible." Reader, some days might seem like dead ends or write-offs, but if you have the energy to keep smiling and think happy thoughts, maybe just a little bit of good karma will find its way to you. 3. First off, if this sounds kinda weird, it's because the conversation wasn't in English, and I don't know if I got the totally right translation for everything. So I work in the service area of a theater. There are a couple of stories I could tell, but this particular one happened just a couple days ago, and was really weird. I never had this in the year and a half I'm working here. Yesterday I was at one of the bars. Right next to each other we have 3 sort of booths where each of us has their own set amount of drinks, snacks, and their own till. I was at the very end of the bar, right next to the doors of the auditorium. Shortly before the break started, a man sauntered out of the auditorium, went to my booth, slapped the counter, and demanded an employee beer. At first I don't even get what he wanted, and said we only have normal beer. He insisted on an employee beer. After looking at him more closely, my inner alarm went off, and I asked for an ID that confirmed he worked with our company. For context, we do have special prices for employees, usually about half of what guests pay. But you usually recognize employees. If they are part of the cast and crew of the production we are hosting, they usually wear a badge that tells us they are cast and crew. Other people we recognize by their uniform, and colleagues we recognize by face, because we work directly with them. Not only did this man not tick any of those boxes, he also reeked of alcohol. Back to the story. After I asked him for his ID, he told me he didn't need to show one, because after all, he helped build the stage set. When I doubled down because I didn't know him and needed to see that ID, he got condescending. Proceeded to mock search his pockets, all the while saying he didn't need to show me and to just sell me that beer. I didn't back down, and the discussion ended with him wanting to speak to my boss. My shift supervisor was just a couple meters away because she was waiting for the doors to open so she could turn the music back on. She had followed the whole conversation and immediately announced her presence. The man went to her and started the same discussion with her. She only told him the same thing that I did. He even mentioned working for a company I've never heard of before, and got further angry when she told him that this wasn't the correct company. At that moment, the doors opened and a lot of people came into our area. The man sort of waved her off angrily and vanished into the crowd. Later I heard that he told another coworker at the same bar just 2 booths down the same thing, and he got away with it because the coworker was new and didn't think anything weird about it. He just asked another coworker which price employees pay, and off that man went. The nerve. It wasn't a huge financial loss, and I get that our normal prices are quite high, but still. I also feel bad because I thought for a second that I should warn the others at my bar about him, but then I got overrun by customers and forgot. 4. I'm not looking forward to going into work tonight, because I know a certain coworker is also scheduled. I initially liked her a lot when I was first hired. She seemed to take the job seriously. She seems to think of herself as head server, and often touts about having seniority over everyone. The restaurant we work at hasn't even been open a full year yet. None of us has seniority. That's a little annoying, but I can brush it off. Things started coming to a head about a month ago. Another coworker and I were cut, so it was time to roll silverware. There were guests sitting at the table servers are allowed to roll at, and the table in back of house that we sometimes used to roll was being used for food prep. So we set up camp at a server station, another popular area to do site work at. This situation has a point-of-sale computer. The restaurant has 2 other computers as well as 3 smart devices that can be used to input guest orders and run credit cards. It's the end of the shift and it's slow, so running with 1 less computer is really no big deal. And setting up a rolling area does not completely block the computer. It just gets pushed back about 6 inches. Well, micromanaging coworker absolutely cannot handle this 6 inches. She complains that her back hurts and she can't reach the computer, even though there are other computers, and says that she needs to use this one specifically. Why specifically this one? I don't know. And she's the only server on at this point, so it's not as though the other computers are in use. So anytime she needs a computer, we have to move all our rolling stuff out of the way. This is annoying. Not a huge deal. Probably added 15 minutes to our task. Whatever. So the other coworker and I are done with silverware, have rolled collectively about 300 sets. The marking trays are filled but not overfilled. The restaurant is closed now and we have been cut for about an hour. We get micromanaging coworker so we can show her our roll-ups, an unspoken nicety for the closing server. She then somehow makes up this rule that we need to wait for all the tables to leave so we can roll that silverware. I thought she was joking, so I laugh and say no. She then undoes our beautifully laid out marking trays and tells us to roll those. This does not sit well with my rolling partner, and he blows up at her. They're having a moderately loud back and forth disagreement with angry emotions. I walk away and grab my manager because I do not get paid to deal with this. The solution for that night was we had rolled enough and were allowed to go home. Cut to 2 weeks ago, a weeknight shift, 2 servers. It's moderately slow, but busy enough for 2 servers. I get cut around 8:30, but I still have a table who is enjoying drinks until close at 10 p.m. My table leaves at about 10:15 p.m. I grab some freshly washed silverware from dish and see micromanaging coworker doing her closing duties. Sweeping, cleaning up coffee machine, etc. Those tasks don't take too long. 10:40 comes along and I'm still rolling, and the closer is supposed to help finish silverware and dismiss the cut server, if there is that much silverware. The dishwasher then comes out with another load of silverware, easily another 100 sets. I have already rolled at least 200 sets by this point. I look for my micromanaging coworker so she can help me with the last of the silverware, but nope. She's gone and left. I was really tired. I had been at school all day. So tired I didn't even have the energy to be angry, but smart enough to know that this is unfair. Brought it up to the manager on shift. He lets me go home. The following Saturday there's a discussion about silverware at the shift meeting. It's agreed upon that a cut person should roll 100 to 150 silverware, but does not need to wait around for more silverware to be washed. The last of the silverware is the responsibility of the closer. Cut to this past Wednesday, again 2 servers, me and micromanaging coworker. I get cut around 8. My tables don't stick around. I rolled 150 silverware and it's about 9 p.m. There have been a decent amount of new tables for the new server, and the bar rail is also full with guests. Bus tubs are full, and in the dish room I can hear the dishwasher running through his silverware. The busser comes up to me and tells me micromanaging coworker is talking crazy crap about me, how I'm lazy and didn't do enough silverware. I decide to not talk to her, show my roll-ups to my manager and inform them of the shit-talking going on. He cashes me out and says I'm free to go. I just don't want to deal with her today. At the age of 50, you should be mature enough to be able to handle a job and not do things simply on your own terms. She always has something passive-aggressive to say. Once the Spotify list playing was a rockabilly station, she asked my opinion. I said it was okay, but I'm not much of a music person. She then responded,
"Yeah, that makes sense. You don't have much style."
I dress very basic. Jeans, black Nike Sorel boots, plain Target shirts, wear basic makeup. Have normal colored hair and no tattoos or piercings. She has fun hair and makeup, a nose ring, lots of visible tattoos, wears fun skirts and leggings. She'll try to train the new people to not like a certain manager. That's just being insubordinate. And she touches her shoulder-length hair all the time. That's just gross. I just don't want to deal with her tonight. Update. Tonight she was the first cut server. There were 4 of us. Before she started rolling, she asked the closing server if she really had to roll 100 silverware, because she only had X amount of covers. She always tries to change the rules to suit what benefits her. The closer told her no to roll 100. We were a bit busy, so the closer wasn't able to follow up if she had actually rolled that many. Before awful coworker left, she came up to me and told me that she left a bunch of silverware in the back so you have enough to roll. Sick of it. 5. There's a rather old guy, I'll call him Dave, that comes into about once a week the small local restaurant I host at. He is usually polite for the first few minutes, before he starts to break out dirty jokes with the servers, bussers, and of course me and the other hosts. He can become really vulgar sometimes, but we all just smile and nod, and be as polite as possible because he is a regular paying customer. And just some old man that doesn't know better. This guy loves to distract us all and talk to us for ages while we are working. Whether he is showing us TikToks and Facebook memes on his phone, or just telling us vulgar jokes, he loves to chat. And it can be incredibly hard to get away from this guy politely once he decides he wants to talk to you. Now maybe the guy is just lonely, and his excessive talking is not a problem when we are slow, or the person he is speaking to is an adult. But there are times when this guy really tests my patience. I may be an asshole for my feelings towards the guy, since he's just some lonely old dude, but I digress. I was annoyed when he made disgusting jokes along the lines of eating out women to a 16-year-old busser, but it was brushed off as the busser does look older than she really is, and he is just trying to talk, right? We were slow at the time anyway, so it didn't matter. But that same night, whilst he had decided to eat chips and drink soda in front of the TV, and a sports game for an hour and a half later, we got really busy. People started filling in fast, and pretty soon there was a short wait time for tables. Of course, when I am the busiest I would be that night, he decides to leave, which is fine. He just has to wait in line. Keep in mind, the space at the front of the restaurant is small and cramped with people in line to pay and people waiting to be seated. Dave makes it to the front of the line and starts to just go off. He is telling me dad jokes left and right, and won't give me his bill so I can ring up his order and charge him. The people behind him are starting to groan, and I'm doing my best to smile and politely get this shit taken care of. I finally get a hold of his bill after what seems like ages and ring up his order, but instead of giving me his card, he says he has to show me a few Facebook memes instead. I politely say, "Sir, I apologize, but I will have to see it next week, as there is a line." It's as if I never said anything at all. He shows me a Facebook picture making some dark humor joke about disabled people and vegetables, and proceeds to try and break it down for me. My patience is literally almost gone at this point, and everyone in line is getting pissed off. He has been holding up the line for about 5 to 8 minutes now, which, when we're busy, is a long time. I tell him I have seen enough and that he either needs to pay now, or I will be seeking assistance from my manager due to a hold-up in the line. Dave has the gall to say,
"Oh, I didn't even notice. My bad."
and finally gives me his damn card. I swipe it as fast as I can and try to have him sign even faster, but instead of signing, he decides to ask me,
"Is it appropriate to sign this as Donald Duck? I really identify as a duck now, just like all these stupid millennials. Did you know that they made up a bunch more genders? Some of them even think they're both. If they can have both parts, then surely I can be a duck."
I cut him off. I snatch away his unsigned receipt. I've had enough. In my rudest tone of voice, I loudly tell him, "That will be all, sir. We can do without your signature. Now, please, see yourself out, or I will have you escorted out for your behavior. This behavior is not appropriate. You are preventing other customers from paying and causing a scene. This is the very limit of my professionalism, and I am honestly shocked and proud of myself for not screaming at this old pervy homophobic trash can in front of everyone. If he had said one more word, I would have lost my shit." Dave looked shocked and his face turned red, and he walked out of the building. I haven't seen him back at the restaurant since. I think he was embarrassed enough not to come back. Also, he hardly ever tips a waitress and waiter. Please, if you're like Dave, stay far, far away from me in hell where you belong. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, number 87. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Also, where did I put that bad Hellfreezer? Nope, not that one. Aha! I found you. Sorry, sneaky little link trying to run away from me. I have a special shout out to give for the author of the last story there, Reddit user, I'm Literally an Orange. Excellent. Thank you kindly to I'm Literally an Orange. People did try to warn us that eventually genetic modification of fruits and vegetables would have drastic consequences. And, well, there you go. Now oranges are working in restaurants. Excellent. And for the record, even if they are citrus, tipping is still customary. Okay, I think I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.